throwing a dually, asking Sol citizens to report for duty. Throwing a dually, asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
And greetings everybody. Welcome back to Soul Voices. I am Griffin Gaming RPG, and today is Saturday, May the 20th, day 2 of Invictus 2953. So welcome back for another great day of conversation. I know I have several of my good friends out there who are watching us today, and I've shared with you that this is going to be a technical check show for me, so definitely put something in chat. If the audio isn't loud enough, or if I'm too soft, or if the guests are too soft, let me know, because I've got to balance out some new settings for this new setup that I have. So thank you guys for being here. To all the folks who are here, I see Fast Card is here, DK is here, Star Helix is here. I haven't seen Star Helix in a while. Good to see you. BBG is here. Pops in Space, New Soul Sounds is here. Thank you guys. Thanks guys. Thanks for the sound check. I appreciate that. Well, as I mentioned, today is day 2 of Invictus. We've got all the way till the end of the month, until I think it's till May 30th. So we've got a few more days to go, another 9 or 10 days to go on the annual event that's set up by CIG. And we're going to talk a little bit about Invictus. The title of today's show, in fact, is Invictus Beyond Ship Sales. And I'm going to present a question to you about that at the end. But we are going to talk about some things that have been leading up to Invictus. And so I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Standard Dev, good to see you. Bonsai, good to see you as well. So I'm going to throw some stuff out here at the very beginning. And let's throw the red meat out there. Let's get things started, okay? Let's see. What do we got first up on our list here? Pardon me. This one is a link. In Fast Cart, forgive me, because I don't think I put the show notes in chat, in the channel rather, so that you could, since you're here, if you can help me with these, it would be greatly appreciated. I'm going to put it in the alerts channel. There you go. This one here is called My 2 Cents on the new claim times. And I think most of you all know that CIG has implemented some new claim times for ships and stuff. And well, some of us knew that this was coming, but I think that there are some people who maybe didn't know it was coming. This is another one of those long threads, so I've got to read all this to you guys. So, excuse me, bear with me as I read all of this, because it's a pretty long thing, but I think, as always, it's important to read everyone's complete thoughts. Let me see here. I got the wrong thing here. Hold on uno momento. Where's the copy? and the paste. All my tabs disappeared on me. Jeez, OP. Okay, let me read this to you guys. This is by Valcrye, I guess that is. It looks like Valcrye, but I'm sure they're trying to say Valcrye. My 2 cents on the new claim times. In Alpha 3.19's patch, ship claim timers, as many as I know, have been drastically increased over the board, and especially on larger ships. The change has been especially punishing considering the stability of late, all the while being unnecessary change at the scale that it is now, and is becoming increasingly frustrating since players now need to wait up to 3 hours in the worst case. I will list a few of my points below as to the matter. Number 1, frustration and boredom. One of the most significant drawbacks of extended waiting periods in a live video game test environment is the increased frustration and boredom experienced by players. Gaming thrives on engaging in interactive experiences, and forcing players to wait excessively undermines the very essence of the enjoyment that keeps players in game. When players are left idle or compelled to endure extended waiting times or artificially inflated complexity, their immersion in the game world diminishes, leading to a much easier burnout. 2, disrupted flow and rhythm. A live video game test environment should provide a seamless flow of gameplay, allowing players to immerse themselves in the intended experience. However, prolonged waiting periods disrupt the natural rhythm and pacing of the game. By introducing unnecessary delays, it risks the interrupting of players' engagement and breaking the momentum of gameplay. 3, penalties for instability. With the ever-changing landscape of the verse that we all know, many technical issues have plagued players, whether it be at 30K, falling out of a ship, or even walking down a staircase wrong. Players can become accustomed to speed bumps that they need to get back up and brush themselves off from. The worst thing that could have been done right now is making these incidents more punishing for the player without being able to guarantee that they will not be able to be interrupted by implementing either enough fixes or a reliable enough safety net to guarantee that they can pick back up where they left off, which the 30K recovery system rarely succeeds at. Which is why it is no shade at the team that produced it. It's delightful when it works, but it needs improvement. Considering that the game is a sandbox live development environment, the goal is to push players to accomplish everything, because then it allows for more test cases and reproduction potential. And implementing more things that the player needs to wait for will only lead to disengagement and frustration. For example, every time I tried to log in today to see Fleet Week, I was met with a 30K shortly after equipping an outfit and taking off, only to be met with 30K after 30K, losing each ship and outfit as I went on. And now sitting here with 2 40-minute timers and 1 3-hour timer to wait through, simply for trying to take off and see the new event. All in all, CIG, there are better solutions for right now than trying to make the system how it is envisioned in the final state, because frankly, the game just isn't ready for that yet. And if it is an economical thing for people salvaging their own ships, then the solution for that should not make things more difficult for every other player in the verse, when some in-game deterrent could be added to prevent it. Okay, so there's a lot there. Person raises a lot of points here. I'm going to show you guys another screen in case you aren't privy to the new times that CIG has placed. These are some of them. I know hopefully you guys can read that. It's a long list, but I'll give some examples on here just in case it's a little too small for your screen. It seems, and I could be wrong, that this started with certain ships. There are certain ships that are not listed here, particularly starter ships, smaller ships. So ships like the Aurora, the Mustang, things like that, they're not on this list. Where they do start on this list, the ships like the Freelancer. And they've got that the Freelancer, the dark bar represents if you pay the expedited fee, and the lighter blue bar represents the regular time if you try to reclaim your ship, okay? So what they say here is for a Freelancer, it takes 15 minutes and 16 seconds. That's how long it takes to get a Freelancer back. If you expedite it, it takes 4 minutes and 8 seconds. I'm going to jump up a little bit. If you have a Freelancer Max, it takes 19 minutes and 20 seconds. And if you expedite it, it takes 6 minutes. If you have a Sentinel, it takes 21 minutes and 25 seconds, 6 minutes and 7 seconds if you expedite. Jump up a little bit further for those of you who like doing your mining. If you've got a mole, it will take you 23 minutes. Well, it says 23.63, so I guess that's a minute breakdown. But that's how long it takes to get that back regular time versus a expedited time of 7.5 minutes, roughly. A little bit more than 7.4. I don't know what they're using as a gauge. They're probably using metric system, and I'm being old fashioned here. Let me go to another ship that looks familiar. A Redeemer, 33 minutes. If you don't expedite, if you expedite, it's 10 minutes. A Reclaimer, 45 minutes almost, 44.76 minutes for a Reclaimer versus 14 minutes if you expedite it. If you jump up a little bit further to a Hammerhead, popular ship, 56 minutes. 56 minutes to get it back. Regular time, almost an hour, or 17 minutes if you expedite. Those of you who are Carrack lovers, you guys have probably already heard this. A Carrack is 98 minutes, an hour and a half. 98 minutes to get a Carrack back. If you expedite it, it's 30 minutes. And for you high rollers out there, if you want to get an 890 jump, it comes out to 313, whatever. It's like 3 hours, basically, to get that one back. It takes a lot longer to get that back. 1 hour if you expedite it, okay? So those are the numbers. That's what we're going to go with for right now. So let's talk about this a little bit and see what some folks think about what's been shared here. I'm going to bring in Pops in space first. So Pops, welcome. Pops, you there?
Yeah, yes I am. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
I just want to do a quick shout out to Kai. Feel better, my brother. Elevate and ice. All right. But I think what they're doing here is getting us prepared down the line for what's going to happen. I can understand the frustration. You're used to getting it back in 5 or 10 minutes, and moving the times up is preparation for down the line. But the game is about complete immersion. First of all, it's about being something towards realistic. Something when your ship goes down, they have to remanufacture it, and it may even be longer if there's other people in front of you in line and parts and things like that.
What do you think about this person's points, though, about frustration, boredom, this being a turnoff for players, things of that nature?
Okay. What you're going to have to do is learn how to do other things. Like let's say you're on your 890 jump and it's a party going on. You're going to have to, whatever planet you're on at that time, or whatever, you're going to have to maybe go do some FPS, find someone to do some FPS with.
What if I don't want to do that? What if I want to mine? What if mining ships is what I got into this game for, is to do mining, and now my mining ship isn't there and I got to wait 3 hours?
Well, you can go eat for a little while. You're just going to really basically have to get involved in some other things. Maybe some espionage that's on the planet.
I don't want to be espionage. I don't want to do espionage. I want to mine.
Yeah, well, you're just going to have to wait then. If that's not your thing. I understand where they're coming from.
Okay.
If that's what you want to do, then you're just going to have to get used to waiting.
Okay. All right.
But all right, they should push people more towards the time that's going to be coming out in the future.
Okay. All right. Fair enough, Pops. All right. Thank you, my brother. All right. I'm going to bring in, I don't know who is next. I'm going to bring in Jay Voodoo Chow. Kai, by the way, thank you for the correction on the time. Yeah, the 890 jump is 5 hours. Thank you for that. Jay, are you there? Is Jay there?
I am. I was muted.
Okay.
It's always fun on the exchanges.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
So my first thing is, the word guarantee gets used a lot in this post, and that I think is problematic because there are no guarantees for anything in a game. I mean, even after launch, there are going to be bugs, there's going to be crashes, there are going to be random things that happen that are unexpected, and there are no guarantees in life, or especially in a game. So,
okay. Let me ask you this.
That mindset is something I think the poster might want to do.
Well, give me some feeling about what the person mentioned about. They mentioned 3 points, right? Frustration and boredom. People get frustrated, they get bored because of the wait. Disruption of the flow and rhythm of development. That you know, these unnecessary delays come up. They interrupt the gameplay of the player, right? And then they mentioned about the penalties for the instability. Sometimes the game just, you know, crashes on you with 30 Ks. You think any of those points are valid? Can be worked around? Other solutions?
So valid, you know, that's you know, to the person's point of view,
Okay.
and then everyone's going to be different.
Okay.
The issue for me is like there are consequences for the decisions that we are making in the game, and so what caused your ship to go boom? You know, is there a penalty for learning not to do that again?
Okay.
And I think that is a necessary element to this kind of immersion gameplay of like, all right, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm, you know, new to this environment and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I need to get burned and know not to touch that stove anymore.
Okay.
And so having a longer period of time, I think is beneficial for that. Okay. And, you know, as Pop says, you know, doing other things or going back to more simplified, you know, as you said, the starter ships don't have anything, or a solo ship may have a reasonable turnaround time. So you can still do mining. You just go in the prospector and still trying to do solo Orion stuff.
Okay. All right.
So, you know, there are multiple levels of even your favorite gameplay that you could engage in, or you can decide to jump over to something else if you were so inclined.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. All right. Let's bring in Fist to Face next. Fist, you there?
Hey, how you doing? All right.
Okay. What you got?
I would kind of like to look at this. First off, before I answer, let me ask you a question about the question. Is he talking from a place of point of fact about, like, well, these times are here and it's a hindrance to the gameplay because what if a bug happens or something like that?
He mentions both. He actually mentions both. He mentions it from an aspect of, he does kind of push on the fact that because of the state of the game, that adding this in now, even though he knows that in the future it's going to be like the final way the game is playing, but that maybe bringing this in right now is just not good. But he does talk about it from the aspect of the instability, but he does also talk about it from as if he's talking about just in the test environment. If you're coming in to test the game and I want to help work the game get fixed so that we can get it out there, but now these time delays are coming in, which means I'm not testing, right? From his perspective, I'm not getting into the game. I'm not playing the game because I've got to wait 3 hours to get back in to see if mining works well. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he's coming from that perspective too.
So with that being said, though, I can understand that point of fact. Yes, downtime, sitting around waiting, you know, obviously you're not, you know, testing and input into the game and being able to go around and do something, whatever, is not really collecting data, or maybe so it is, to a degree. I can understand the point of view from that point of view. At first I was trying to think, is he talking about, well, man, this is messing up my gameplay, why are they putting, you know what I mean? You know, because if that was the case, I was getting ready to say, well, we have to address the psychological point of fact of being gamers versus being testers in this environment.
Yeah. And you said something I think that is important. And you said, is this a form of testing? Is the actual wait time a form of testing? Where some people look at it as penalization in development. There are other people who may see the glass as half full the other way. This is also seeing how is the community responding to this time. What are they doing to pass that time? Are they logging out? Because like right now, let's use prisons, for example, right? In the past, whenever people got a long prison sequence,
gone. That's it. Yeah.
Some people would go down, and if they want to get back into the game quickly, they go down and do the oxygen missions or go mine, right? But when those got bugged, what did people do? You're right. They logged out and said, I'll come back later, right? So that says, that's a form of testing. That says that we have to have something happening in the prisons that if people feel engaged, they'll ride out that 1 hour, 45 minute, 2 hour prison time, as long as there's something that they feel like they're accomplishing while they're in there, right?
So you know what? You brought up a good point, because that can therefore open up, like, the CIG has to think about that too. Like you said, I try to keep it short. You got folks waiting, but they have to really think about, like you said, in that downtime, somebody, their ship blows up or whatever, and they're stuck back at the station, and maybe they can't get off of that station at that time. So what do they have available for them to do at that particular spot? Whether or not if it's in prison, whether or not if it's at Everest Harbor, do you have a mission for them to go pick up a broom? Or something like that. So they do have to think about that. That is a good point.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Thank you, bro.
All right.
Appreciate it. All righty. Let me bring in, I think DK was next, then Kai, then BBG, then Sertogi. DK, how are you, man?
Okay, there we go. Hold on. I got to mute
my
stream. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to really try to keep this short because, I want everybody. But so I made some notes. First, let me preface this by I have a multi-ship, privilege.
Okay.
I have multiple ships. Secondly, I'm not a combat player. So, or at least I don't spend a lot of time in combat. So first I'm going to address, to the poster. It largely depends on what you're doing. Okay. For me, since I'm not in combat, I'm doing things like perhaps rock mining or box missions and things like that. So I don't put my ship into danger. I've been living out of my MSR in 319 since it launched, and I have not had any issues with either 30Ks or having to claim the ship. And and that hasn't had to happen until recently, when I had a bug where the rock I rented overstayed in my ship. And the next day when I logged in, the rock was still there, but I cannot move the rock. Now I actually have to claim the ship. Now, I'm not saying that 30Ks don't happen. I haven't experienced one. He has experienced many. I think this is all dependent on maybe where you are, what is going on with your connections, computers, maybe the server you're connecting to, and we know persistence is happening. Maybe we're constantly connecting to the, a broken server.
Going back to the same server.
It's possible. We don't know, but the experience is not, shared amongst everyone. Okay. And it's not a slight to him. I'm not telling him that it's a bad thing. This just happens. Maybe I might experience 30Ks over and over again, and he's fine. So look at it that way. Secondly, when it comes to what I'm doing, I don't attach so much to what I'm doing. If I'm going rock mining and I'm trying to gather things there, and I'm having a good haul, but I try not to attach myself to that haul, that, oh my God, if I lose it, it's going to be the end of the world. No, maybe I lose that, but I'm not attached to trying to accomplish something. If I happen to accomplish it, great. Then that was a good session. If it breaks, okay, it broke. So I can't get upset with it.
Let me stop you.
I have other hobbies.
Let me stop you there. Is that an issue? And I'm not saying, again, we're not throwing any shade at the player, but I see this as is this one of the hurdles of gaming where you do have to have some type of, we've said this before, a little bit of psychological fortitude or focus about when you're playing this game, because it's so easy to get pulled into the experience and the immersion where the game feels like it's in a good place, right? Then when the catastrophe happens, because it felt like it was working, the reality of it is it's a time bomb, right? I mean, there's this ticking bomb that's always going on anytime you come into this game. And some days you get in and the bomb never goes off. Other days it goes off not once, twice, multiple times, right?
Multiple times.
So, I mean, is there something that we as gamers I don't want to preach it, folks.
Yeah.
But I mean, is there something that gamers should consider or keep in the forefront so that they don't get too,
Let me
connected?
close out in answering that question.
Okay.
There is this type of mindset that can bear with these kinds of things. That yes, that is definitely a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Are all players? I'm not telling you who you have to. No, I understand that some may not be able to deal with that, and that's okay. That's just fine. It's finding things that you can do outside of Star Citizen. If something should break and you just don't want to deal with another 30K, I have other hobbies. So, I'm not telling me go to get a hobby, or do something else. But for me, it doesn't bother me. I'll find something else to do. If it's in game, if I go to prison, then I either choose to log out or I choose to do the prison gameplay.
Okay.
And I might just enjoy. Okay, fine. I'll just do prison gameplay. I might not 100% enjoy it, but maybe I'll just do it since I'm still in the game, and then I'll log out. Or if I'm in a prospector mining and the game crashes and all of a sudden I have to claim my prospector, well, the nice thing is that hopefully I've accumulated enough that I can just go rent another prospector for now, for the day, and then just go out and continue doing. Yes, I cannot change the modules. I know that. That's okay. I'm just doing mining because I like mining. I'm not trying to accomplish something, make the money. Yeah. I just want to mine anything, so that's how I look at it. I'm feel for you, buddy. I feel for you. I get it.
Yeah. I mean,
take a little patience.
Yeah, I think we're all sympathetic to what's there. I do have a perspective on this, and when I get through with everybody, I'll share mine because I do want to hear everybody's thoughts. Because I think this person, I understand where they are, and I also think they have some valid points, but I also think there's a perspective as to why he feels that way, which may not be the best perspective to have when it comes to Star Citizen.
That's right.
I think Star Citizen's a unique situation that he's applying regular game aspects to, and I might be wrong about what my perspective is, but I'll share that when I get to it. It's okay. But that's good stuff, DK. Thank you, man. Okay.
You.
All right. Let me bring in Kai Zin. And Kai, you there?
Hello.
Hey, bro.
I want to return the shout out to Pops, one half of New Soul, who just put out the crew trailer this last week on Spectrum, and it's amazing. Everybody should go check that out.
Absolutely.
Okay. Keeping it short, my viewpoint on this is the guy is 100% right, period. I think that there does need to be an increase in claim times for ships. I think in claiming an 890 jump should maybe not be 5 hours. It should maybe be 3 days or a week. But all of that needs to come much, much, much later in the development cycle for two reasons. Both reasons he laid out very well. Number one, the longer you make it where people are standing there and or logging out to play another game and or just whatever, because they can't get to their ships, the less testing data you're collecting from people. Now, you could say, well, it's valuable to collect some data on how much is too much waiting, how much is too little waiting, how much penalizes people enough for bad behavior that they would sort of be less inclined to partake in that behavior. But that is all things that should be looked at when the game is out of alpha and fairly deep into beta. The point of alpha is you're not feature complete. The point of beta is you're feature complete, but not content complete. Doing game balancing, trying to get your economy right, trying to get, and this is part of the economy, insurance and waiting on ships and whatever, that's part of the economy. It's just a time economy. It's a slightly different economy. That doesn't come in alpha. If you're doing things right, that comes in beta. So I think ships, they do need to increase how long it takes to get ships, but this is not the right time to do it. And then the second point that he made exacerbates it much, much further, which is there are so many stupid things in this game right now that kill you through no fault of your own and blow up your shit, and now you're stuck. And that's part of being an alpha. I understand that. I accept it. But when you increase the wait times, you literally just put vastly more pressure to exasperate the exasperation, the negativity, the pain involved by people who might have done nothing wrong, literally just 30K or whatever. Something happens. I hit an invisible. We've seen things where people are flying around and they hit an invisible object and explode. And it's like, okay, I'm flying over the city, but like I'm literally 500 feet above any building. Why is it that I just hit an invisible or whatever? When something happens and you die, and it's their fault, and now they tell you that 5-minute wait is going to be an hour and a half, that really pisses you off, and you're not playing the game. You're not giving them data to the point that Pops made and that Fist made and other people made, that like, well, go do other things. It's like, yeah, but as you just pointed out, Griff, a lot of the other things they haven't input yet because the game is in alpha. It is not feature complete. So I could not find anything to disagree with this guy on. I don't totally get your point, Griff, and I share it, that it's like, well, definitely ship timers need to increase, but the time to do that is deep in beta, not midway through alpha.
Okay, cool.
All
right, buddy. Thank you, man. All right, Kai shares his thoughts. Let's bring in BBG and then Sir Togi, and then I'll give you my 2 cents, or my cents and a half, maybe. I don't know. BBG, you there?
Greetings and salutations.
Hey, brother. How are you?
Every day is a blessing. It's interesting because this probably is the first time in my history with the Soul Citizens where I disagree entirely with Kaizen.
Okay.
We're gonna have to
we'll mark that down. Let's mark that in the calendar, right?
Normally we're on the exact same page. It's kind of weird. He thinks this guy's 100% right. I think he's 100% wrong on multiple levels. The first one is, and I appreciate you putting the link to the post so that we could read while we're prepping our answer here. But the truth of this post is where this gentleman starts. And this gentleman starts with the wrong supposition, right? He starts with the wrong supposition for this game, is that he submits that one of the most significant drawbacks is extended waiting periods and the frustration and boredom experienced by players. Guess what? In a universe sim, there's going to be some waiting. Right? There's going to be waiting that's the result of strategies. There's going to be a waiting that's a result of the environment. There's going to be waiting. This is a heightened sense of reality that CIG is going for. And I have staff that will say to me, well, I'm this type of personality and I'm not really built for this setting. And I'm like, everything's good. You all good. Love you, value you, but you just can't work here. Right? And so the same thing is for me is where I am on this, which is, and if you note the comments below, a lot of the comments tied into, I don't want to wait at all. Why should I wait? If I have to wait at all, that means I'm going to play another game. Right. And so the initial sentiment is really about, I don't want to wait. And that's not this game. This game will have timers. This game will have consequences. And whether they're testing them or not. And that brings me to my second point, which is, I don't think Kai's 100% wrong, but I do think this guy is, because what we're missing, and I think Kai's point is valid when he talks about how, certain things really belong in beta, gamma, and final release, and not in alpha. But the problem is we have players who will be playing the game in alpha. And the real thing we need to consider with regard to that is, the very moment you start exposing players to your game, whether it's in beta or it's in alpha, you need to begin to manage the behavioral psychology of that. And the vast majority of games we experience, we're nowhere near alpha. Right. So the management of our behavioral psychology doesn't have to begin in alpha. It can begin the moment you begin to expose players to the game. The problem in this particular endeavor is we've exposed players to the game very early on. And so, for example, if you were to take away wait times and then intend to put wait times in, putting them in afterwards, you've exposed 4 million registered accounts to no wait times. To put them in from a behavioral psychological standpoint will feel like taking something away from them. Right? Yeah. When we finally get to the game. So it's to CIG's benefit to actually put stuff in now, particularly if they think they're going to make it a little less going forward, because the psychology of that for folks who are here now will feel like they're getting benefits as we approach final release versus being penalized as we approach final release. Because trust me, player groups that feel like they're being penalized in the run up to release will protest so vehemently that the game mechanic will go back to what it was during alpha. And then the rest of us will not get the game immersion reality experience that we're looking for. We'll get that fast twitch, everything right now sensibility that's in so many other games that, from my perspective and the perspective of folks I play with, makes it less compelling than it is to have to think, wait, right? And so all of this is about, terms in behavioral psychology like desensitization and systematic sensitization, right? They have to systematically sensitize us, right, to where the game is going to go. So they need to begin right now, because we're in the game right now, with sharing with us what their take on the universe will be. And it's not going to be for everybody. And that has to be okay. Because there's lots of fast twitch, have it right now, zero wait, do everything as soon as you want to do it, regardless. There's 1,000 experiences like that out there. Please do not make this experience those experiences.
Okay.
Right? Me and mine, we're not here for that. So
okay. All right, BBG. Thank you, man. Good words. Last but not least, Sir Togi. Sir Togi, you there?
Yep.
Hey, how are you, man?
Oh, just chilling.
Good. What you got?
So, in a Soul Citizens first, I'm going to come in with the not hot take.
Okay.
The middle ground on this.
Okay.
All right. So, when you 30K, what happens to your ship? You go to your ASAP terminal, and what is it listed as?
Unknown or whatever, something like that, maybe.
Exactly. So they can tell the difference between a destroyed ship and a not destroyed ship empirically. So why not adjust the claim timers based on that?
Okay.
So yeah, punish people for losing the ship. It gets blown up. Tough shit. Learn to fly. And I mean, yeah, sure, there's going to be bugs, invisible asteroids and stuff that lead to the destruction of the ship.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of the times that you lose your ships from the really, really dumb stuff is going to be taken care of. And when it's unknown, then you go back to a much shorter claim time because the chances are the ship's intact and you can just say, oh, well, somebody went out and got it for you. You got a tow truck. It's a tow truck fee.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
And
that'd be a middle ground, some type of middle ground that would work where people didn't feel like, hey, I did everything right.
Yeah. I mean, because they're going to need to start testing this stuff.
Like that. Yeah.
Especially with salvage coming in, that's super exploitable.
Yes. Good point.
And there's easy, low-hanging fruit here to solve that problem. CIG just needs to,
Okay. I like that. I like that. Thank you, sir. That's a good suggestion. Positive responses, which CIG likes. It's like it's easy to identify problems, but how do we come to the solutions? Thank you, Sir Togi. I'm going to kind of compile a little bit of what everybody said here. I think that everybody has some really good stuff here, but I think BBG kind of went down the road that I was going to go down. He definitely went down the road I was going to go down. We expressed concern in the past about how people's perspective of this game will be over time. For people who've been around for a while versus those who may have come in within the last 5 years, last 3 years, last 1 year, how much of the information of understanding what this game will be that people really embrace. And even for people who've been around a long time, it's sometimes difficult not to make Star Citizen what I want it to be, what I've always dreamed of, what I've always wanted to be able to do in a game. There is a certain relinquishing of that is still based upon what is his vision and CIG's vision of what this game is supposed to be in the end. They've given us a lot of information over the years, going back to the early days of Wingman's Hangar, going back to questions at 10 for Chairman. There's so much information that people have not only not seen, but even forgotten about what this game is supposed to be. If you've been around any length of time, you know that this game is always going to have this thing coming up with claiming ships, right? Insurance. They haven't even implemented anywhere near what that's going to be. But we always knew that at some point it was going to take a while to get your ship back. And of course, it was explained that the larger your ship, the more valuable your ship, the longer the claim times would be. Now, some of you may remember about a couple of years ago, may have been longer than that because time flies by, maybe 3 years ago even, CIG did implement this. They implemented this into the game. And it was a huge catastrophe. The reason why it was a catastrophe was not just because of the times. That wasn't really the issue. The issue was that there were some people who only owned one ship, maybe 2 ships. But some people just had a starter package. They came in and said, hey, I'm playing with a starter package. I want to do the zero to hero thing. Or I have a starter package because I want to see how the development goes. And what happened was when their ship went out for some reason, not of their own fault, but this is back when 30Ks were very prevalent. 30K, something dumb happened in the game that they now had to wait to get that ship back. And if they weren't with an org or had anybody else that they could fly with, they honestly couldn't play the game. At that time, ship rentals weren't that great. They may not even been in the game. I think maybe they were. But whatever it was, there was a new hurdle that they had to do to play the game, right? And so CIG, within a week, it wasn't very long, they took that away. They took us back to the old claim times, and there was peace in the valley again. If you notice this time when they implemented it, though, there are certain ships that are not impacted by this, and they are starter ships. I happen to notice on here that even the prospector is on here. So if you're mining, you lose your prospector, you can get your prospector back, it looks like, within the standard time. The vulture isn't listed here. So there are some starter programs that you could go back and do. Several ships are not on this list, but there are some that are here. It's interesting that no one talks about this, but the 890 Jump, which is a ship that a lot of people don't either own, or even if they do own it, they don't fly it. It has a 5-hour wait time on it, right? Even if you expedite it, it goes down to 54 minutes. I think it used to be if you expedited it, it went down to 45 minutes previously, right? So they increased that. I think it was 3.5 hours before, Kai. That's why 3.5 was in my head. But now it's 5 hours, and now it's down to 54 minutes. I do want to say that I think that this person is coming to this game with the way they think it should be. Now, I don't want to I'm not saying that what they're saying isn't right. I'm saying from their perspective, it makes sense and it's right. But BBG talked on some things here that they talked about with frustration and boredom. When players are left or idle or compelled to endure extended wait times or artificially inflated complexity, their immersion in the game world diminishes, leading to a much easier burnout. And DK touched on this. I said I'm taking a little bit from everybody. DK said that my perspective about coming into this game is that when things happen, there's always that possibility that it could happen. Now, that doesn't mean you don't get frustrated. Doesn't mean you don't get aggravated. Doesn't mean you don't get mad, right? But it allows you to come back to the game and either play differently or step back and come back to it later, which is what most of us end up doing no matter what. I used the example about the prisons earlier. When there was nothing to do, people log out and go do something else, right? But when mining was working, when oxygen machines were working, there were several players that would go do that, and they would do it to get out of prison. Fist mentioned about when people wake up back at their rest and rehab or that landing zone, and they've lost their only ship. Maybe they don't have an org, or maybe none of their friends are on at that time. Is there something that they can do to, first of all, make money? Secondly, get their ship back quickly. Maybe pay a little extra on the insurance to expedite their ship coming back. CIG is working on doing things like that so that we will have something to do, right? If we had personal transports, if the what do you call it? What am I trying to say? NPC transports were working, right? Maybe I could leave that landing zone and fly somewhere so that I could go do some work, or I could fly to where my other ship is, so I don't have to wait an hour for that ship to come. There are other things that have to come in. Now, I think I do agree with BBG, and this is the point that I was going to make. This has to be implemented at some point, and no matter what, no matter when it gets implemented, the longer we wait, there's going to be difficulty with it because people are going to be used to the way the game is playing. You guys see that already. People are used to the way the game has been, and when a change comes in, they go crazy. They flip out because they're not realizing that these things are going to come into the game and literally change the way we play the game. That is what happens. These things come in to change the way we play the game. I mentioned earlier, do these wait times become a form of testing? I'm not just talking about to see whether or not the pitchforks and torches come out, but I'm talking about, will people start finding other ways to play in the sandbox? Will I now decide to say, I'm going to group up with some other people? Maybe what we'll find out is that I'm not taking out certain ships now only if the risk versus reward is worth it. Is it worth me taking the hammerhead out, where before I would gravitate to it automatically? Now I have to worry about, if I lose this reclaimer, hey, do I really want to take it out? Or can I do what I need to do in something that has a shorter wait time? Or can I do it now with some friends? Maybe they're willing to take that risk. Or maybe when they lose their ship, we transfer over to this next ship. There's a whole lot of other analytics and information that could come from this, not just the penalization. Now, his point 3, I agree with. The instability factor of the game definitely warrants, and this is what Sir Togi was talking about, if something happens that's beyond the player's purview, something that they didn't do that causes them to lose their ship, guess what? CIG learns from that, from their analytics, that's happening in the game. But agreeably, it needs to be rectified as quickly as possible so that when there are issues that have to do with timers, they're from legitimate reasons, right? Because if they're from legitimate reasons, to BBG's point, if it's because that's what happens in the game, then as a player, I realize, if someone mentioned this earlier about learning from your mistakes when you're playing the game as well, I know now that don't do this thing anymore, or I wasn't prepared, or I didn't have enough people on my ship, or I went into something that was deeper than I thought it was going to be. So there's a whole lot of things that can come out of this at the same time. I don't know if there is a good time. Beyond the stability argument he mentions, this disruption of flow and rhythm for the player, screw all that. This is testing, right? That's what we want to be able to do. It doesn't mean that that's a part of the development process. They do have to walk a tightrope, because you don't want to turn players off so that they don't want to come into the game and play it, that they don't want to come in and test it. But as players from our side, no matter what, this is always a time bomb. I know we don't like that. I got in with Ops Chief last night. We were going to go to the convention center. He went over there. I said, hey, what are you doing? He said, oh, I just got 30K'd, right? He got 30K'd out of nowhere. Thank you. From, who was that who did that? Maiden Ariana. Thank you for the resub. Thank you. Good to see you. He got 30K'd, right? I told him, log out, clear out everything, come back in, we'll get in and go to the convention center together. We played the next 3 hours. Nothing happened. The game ran completely smooth, no problems, right? Now, when that happens, it's we don't holler as much. When we have great game experiences and when Star Citizen runs well, we're okay. But when we get that day where we got 30K'd a lot, or we had that caterpillar that was filled with 2 million and we lost it, well, yeah, then the pitchforks and the torches come out, right? So my point is this: I understand the person's perspective, but I think that their perspective about the game, they're bringing what happens in normal games. Last thing I'll say, and I got to move on because I'm talking too long. I still say that this game is not trying to be like other games. That Chris Roberts is trying to develop even the way we play the game, the way we look at the game, as being different than what the gaming industry has been giving us. The gaming industry has programmed us into a space of, I said this the other day about arcade machines. It's the difference between having 3 quarters and having a pocket full of quarters. When you got 3 quarters, you make every moment count. You think about it because you know you're only going to get so long to play the game. When you got a pocket full of quarters, you go play ham and crazy because you always know you can throw another quarter in the machine. And the gaming industry has done that to us. They've made us not treat our characters and our time valuable. We think it's valuable because the time we're using. But I'm talking about the way we play the games as being valuable. And so we're used to that. Quickly getting something back doesn't take long before I can get right back into the game. But the reality is, if we're trying to create a different space that says risk versus reward means something entirely different, it means that I can't do this thing now. They've got to find the right tightrope for that so that players still want to come back and play it, right? They still want to come back and play it, but they also understand that when that penalty happens or that loss happens, that it's like a dag. You feel aggravated. If you lose your Idris, dag, I got to wait freaking a week for that sucker or 2 weeks for that sucker. You don't think I'm going to be thinking about whether I want to take it out of the hangar now? I'm not taking it out for cool factor anymore because I'm taking it out because there's a possibility, not because of a 30K, but just the fact that if I lose that ship, now I've got to think of something else to do, or I've got to do something different in the game, right? Or I've got to figure out ways to get it back faster. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. I've worn that horse and beat that dead horse to a point. You guys have mentioned some very cool stuff, and I truly appreciate what you guys share. And let's move on to the next subject, because I spent a lot of time on that one. A lot longer than I thought I would, okay? All right. This is going to be another one. God, this is going to be another long one. But I'm going to try and make this one a little bit shorter, guys. I really am, okay? This one says, opinion, we need better accessibility, okay? Hey there. First of all, I really appreciate the overhauled mining in 3.19. Among other improvements, it gives us the opportunity to stay on site with the mole prospector and let mates sell and refine the materials in the cargo ship, which of course is awesome. But with the new different prices at TDD and other locations, but also revoked values of materials, I would like to have some more data in game, such as what material can be found more frequently, in which areas might be a topic for data running or later on. Might that be? What refinery makes the most sense of specific material? What are the selling prices for which materials are at the TDD? You get my point. I don't want the game to tell me where exactly to go on Lyria to find quantanium, but some kind of indication would be cool. Most importantly, in my opinion, are the prices mentioned above. So far, the only chance we have to check the locations on foot, or eventually use third-party tools. Same goes with about everything else with components and guns, etc. What is available where? What is the cost? A way to compare stuff would be nice. Websites like Urkel or SC Trade Tools are doing a phenomenal job here, but I personally don't enjoy relying on third-party tools all the time, since that stuff drags me out of the immersion experience. Naturally, I don't want to take away the exploration effect, but some data should really be available in game. There were economy terminals in the release review once in a few years back, but I never heard about those again. My best guess why about nothing of which is implemented yet is the lack of more quanta technology so far. Additionally, I of course get prices are subject to change. So a connected economy terminal would probably have to be updated constantly. What's your opinion here? All the best to you. Edit. Yes, I wasn't very clear with one topic, of course. I still want tons of reasons to visit locations on my own, explore stuff, but some of the very basics should be available in some kind of Mobi app or terminal, okay? In my humble opinion. All right, let me bring in Kai Zen, and then I'm going to bring in Pistaface for this one. Kai?
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
So, okay. I feel like this question was very respectfully written, and it's coming from a place of love. You can tell this person knows a decent amount about the game from the standpoint of they do know about Urkel and the tools to use, and they do whatever. And I feel like they sort of answered their own question in the asking of it. Like, would it be good if there was more ability to get access to terminals with information? Absolutely. But the game is in alpha. It's not completed. It's not done. Data running isn't even a thing yet in the game. I mean, like, we have the Star Runner, but we don't have any functionality for it.
Right.
I think that once the game is complete, number one, there's going to be some things that I don't ever want to be accessible out of game. I do want a certain amount of you got to go to find out. But other things, absolutely. Maybe there should be terminals that give you extra information, but you have to pay a fee to that, and that's a credit sync. And then part of that fee goes to the data runners who are moving stuff from A to B. There's all kinds of loops and things that could come in the game, but it's like you're looking at a cake that's only half, like, it's not even in the oven yet. It's not being baked. It's just in the bowl. And you're saying, like, but how come it doesn't have any icing? And it's like, because we're not there yet. Moby-Glass
Yeah.
can have access to stuff,
Yeah.
and you have to pay a fee, and data runners, or maybe you have to get a certain rep within a certain government, and now, okay, you have access to these guys, but if you have rep with these 5 guys, you get a wider array of information, or all, like, there are so many possibilities here, but you're asking how come the cake doesn't have icing and sprinkles, and it's because it's not even in the oven yet. It's still in a bowl. So like, it'll be there when it's there.
There you go. He outlined several things that are coming, right? He actually did outline those things. They're just not there yet, you know. All right, cool stuff. Thank you, brother. All right, let's bring in Fist, and I've got 2 cents on this one too. So Fist, what you got?
Hey. All right. I want to answer specifically the one where he talks about what materials can be found more frequently in areas. This right here, to me, I'm kind of on a on a selfish kind of a saying no, that shouldn't have that, simply because, okay, when we start, obviously when a game goes live, and I'm speaking from that point of view, and I get the question is like, well, we should have better accessibility now. And like Kai already answered that question. But to look at it, you know, in the future, I think to answer this question, and the specific part of it is saying no, is because number one, that takes away exploration. Right. Number 2, that takes away exclusivity for that person who found it, you know. And number 3, I'm selfish, because if I find a gold mine, I'm not letting you know about it.
Okay.
You know, I'm just being honest.
No, fair enough. No, fair enough. Okay. All right. No, those are good points. I think those are all good points.
You know, so I don't want to have where, like, I've played other MMOs and they've had data mines, or they've had loot what they have loot tables. Like people will have the loot tables. Well, you know, you know what dungeon to run to get the specific drop. You know, that's cool in that type of a game,
right?
You know, but for this type of a game, it's not.
Okay.
I'm just being, you know, my opinion, my 2 cents on that one.
Good stuff. All right, thank you, brother.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, we'll bring in Pops in space. Pops, by the way, you guys, there's a link there. You can click on the link if you want to come in and chat. Feel free. We come into Discord and share your thoughts about the topics we're talking about today. Go ahead, Pops.
Oh, hey, Griff, I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit here. Okay. Now, what happens when land claim? Now, is that what land claims were for, or land claims just for your base, or were the land claims including whatever was on that land, like minables and things like that?
I mean, no, they included if that's your land. Like if you happen to put a land claim down and you put it on and there's some gold underneath, but that's your land claim.
That's your land.
You wouldn't know that unless you know, whatever they give us to allow us to find that out later. But land claims are just strictly like, they're just basically leases of property, right? They're plots of property that you get, you know,
property for your home.
Maybe there's a river there, you know, maybe you want to build your landing pad there. Maybe your org wants to be there, whatever it is you want it to be.
Okay. Cause I was just wondering if the land claim had to do with mining ore, and if you own the land, you know, if you owned a certain, you know, size plot, then you maybe would sell that information to other people.
You could.
Kind of wondering.
That's your land. Okay. You could do what you want to with the land.
Do what you want to do with it. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay.
Thanks for clarifying.
You got it, brother.
Okay.
All right. Let me throw this at you guys. It's kind of a little bit the way I was going with this. I get a little frustrated. Boy. Okay, I get a little frustrated sometimes, because sometimes gamers, man, we don't find workarounds anymore sometimes. I mean, we don't really think about workarounds. CIG told us that that mineral resourcing in the game was going to change. They said that they're going to make certain minerals indicative or indigenous to certain areas, certain planets or moons. Maybe this is where iron is found, and in certain places this is where gold is found. There'll be some things that are scattered throughout, but in general, they'll be, you know, they're going to focus certain areas to be around certain areas, because geologically and whatever reasons, it will make sense for those things to be there. Hey, is it Alinium? Alinium? Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Hope I said it right. I probably slaughtered it. So they told us that. They told us that certain items in the verse were going to start disappearing, that certain weapons that maybe you were used to getting at a certain store, they won't be at that store anymore. Now, they've moved things around before, right? Maybe you were able to buy your Gallant over here, and now it's not there anymore. You've got to go out to Hurl L5 because that's where it's sold. But they also said there are going to be some items that won't be sold at all. And they're changing it so that we will now be able to find those things either from looting or from NPCs, right? They talked about certain weapons for ships that they will not be in the stores anymore. That's certain weapons, certain items you will have to buy. You either get through PvP encounters, right? When we watched the Jax video from last year, we saw that even in Pyro, there was stuff that was alien stuff that was being sold at a market. You may have to go certain places to get certain things. They're changing things. And this goes back to what I said earlier about things changing in the game. And when things change, because we've gotten used to it being a certain way, we struggle with that change. Now, most times we adapt to it because once we start to get it, we start to understand what's going on, we kind of embrace it a little bit more, right? But the thing that gets me about this is nobody has thought about, and Kai mentioned it earlier, about data running. Do you need a data runner to do data running right now in the game? Let me throw that question out to you. It's because the Herald's not got its computers running, or because the MSR's computers aren't running? Does that prevent you as a player from data running? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Who says that you couldn't start some rumors in the game and start some stuff that says that you are down at Wally's bar giving information out to players who will pay you for information on where to find certain things in the verse? There's nothing stopping us as gamers right now from doing that in game. We don't even think about the possibility because we're waiting on CIG to automate something that we could do ourselves and find gameplay in and make money. If you're in an org, one of the reasons and benefits for being in an org is so that you've got people there that you can go into chat with and say, hey guys, I used to be able to pick up a C-54 at New Babbage. Does anybody know where it's at right now? And somebody says, yeah, dude, they've got it over at Hurston now, at Tammany and Sons. That's one of the benefits of being in an org. But and so there are ways to still work around these things, and we raise them and say, well, CIG needs to get. I agree with him when he says, you know, you hate that you got to break off and go to Urkel or go to some app, SC Tools or whatever to get your information. He says, well, but then you'll have to physically go some places to find out. Heck yeah. Why not have your buddy who goes to the terminal and tells you what the prices are while you're out mining, so he can tell you which one of the refineries is giving you the best prices? Your friend who needs to be doing something, and you could pay them for just doing that. We used to pay people just for sitting at a location where we were mining. If the Quantanium rock was too big, all they had to do was sit there so that we could come back because we couldn't drop a marker. So we paid them, they get a cut just for sitting there. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about sandbox and gamers thinking about how to play. No, don't Google it, Dr. Willie. Don't Google it, okay? We're talking about gamers using their freaking imagination, which gamers used to have a long time ago, right? How do we work around stuff within the game environment? And it could be done. So, you know, I get what the person's saying, but I'm also saying spread your wings a little bit here. Get some friends together, hire somebody. That's stuff that's supposed to be coming in the game later. Anyway, there's nothing that prevents you from doing data running right now in the game, okay? You could do that right now, and you can get in your Herald, even though it's broke, or your MSR, even though it's broke, and you could do it, okay? That's my 2 cents on that one, all right? Okay, let's go on to the next, as we would call, hot topic. Hot topic. If Gomob was here, he'd be talking about the hot topics, okay? All right, let's see. We're going to close this one out and go to this one. Okay, and this one. All right. Question of the day. As you guys know, the Mirai and the Mirai MX are being sold this weekend. They've sold over $1 million worth of them, a couple $1 million, I think. They've done pretty well when I looked at it yesterday. And so my thoughts to you are about the Lynx. Now, there is a reason why I'm asking you about the Lynx. Some of you guys have seen it. You've seen the, the concept stuff they showed us and the interiors and all that stuff. And one of the things that people say about it is that it's got this luxury, this nice look to it, right? It's made by Ursa, same company, but obviously designed differently, right? And my question to you is this: are you interested in it? And if so, why? Why? Because a lot of people will look at Ursa and say, I'm not interested in it. It doesn't do anything. Okay. That's going to be my question to you. Are you interested in it? This is RSI who's producing this. And if you are, why? Why would you buy this vehicle that, quote unquote, doesn't do anything? Okay. Once again, you guys can join the chat. Feel free to click on the link and come in. Pops, you there?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Okay. What you got?
Okay. It's going to be really basically for me a placeholder just in case, because I'm going to use it as a transportation for customers for my brand new merchantman. That's what I have an idea. It has the luxury feel to it.
Okay.
Bring it in style, schmooze them, give them a little drink on the way.
Okay.
Get them a little tipsy, raise my prices up a little bit, And that's what I have in mind for why I think it's a great addition to Star Citizen.
So you've got some role play reasons for why you would like to be able to get that. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you, Pops. Appreciate that. All right. Let me bring in Fist to Face next. Fist, you there?
Yeah, how are you, man?
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to answer. That was funny when my dad just said, okay. But anyway, so mine is yes and no.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, I would get it, but I would get it in game.
Okay. Okay.
That is the why not? Because
so you wouldn't spend money on it, but you'd work for it.
Right.
Okay. And the reasons why you would get it is because what?
Now, the reasons why I would get it, part of it in person is for what Pop said, but also too, you also mentioned like a while back that there are certain planets that you can only go in there with a luxury vehicle or something of that nature.
Okay.
Now, this could be something like I would like to see, how transportation would work, and this could be, a good avenue when it comes to a planet like that, where you have a high clientele that may, need a ride, and, air traffic is not available. You can only go from ground.
Okay.
You can only go ground. So ground expedition. So there you go.
Okay.
And
all right.
And other uses too.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, Fist. Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you.
All right. Let me bring in BBG next. BBG, you there?
Griff.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely interested in the Lynx because I have style.
Okay. So what does that mean? I mean, what does that mean for you?
Finer things.
Okay.
I like the finer things. For the folks that might be new to the game, just watch that 890 jump commercial. Right? That sort of plays off of The Great Gatsby, right?
Okay.
Just watch that 890 jump commercial. That's about enjoying life, right? Having moments where we do things at a high level, right?
Okay.
Those moments when you say to your friends, when we go out tonight, we're going to go out looking right, feeling right. The whole experience is going to be correct.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And so to your earlier question, I could imagine, when we talk about players like getting off their butts and start creating that iterative gameplay, I can imagine a tour company where players are just positioned at certain locations where if you drive up on the position, you fly up on the position, you get this incredible vista. You get this incredible look, this incredible feel, this incredible experience, right? And imagine flying there with the Constellation Phoenix, right? Everybody's relaxing, everybody's chilling at the bar, right? And then you get out, you get in the Lynx, you go over and you see this incredible sunrise on this mountaintop, right? To finish off the day, right? And then you pay the dude with the tour company that positioned you to have that experience, right? And the Lynx is how you get there, and everything's 5-star, right? Everything feels good, right? The drinks are good, right? You know how Jared talked about the quality of the tires. We're gonna get nice, no noise ride, right? The quality of the seats, right? So that's exactly why I want it.
Okay, all right. I'll buy that for $1. Thank you, there, BBG. He said for style. I like that. And old Brownie, thank you so much for that follow too. By the way, thank you. Let me bring in Sir Togi. Sir Togi, you there?
Yep.
Here he is. What's happening?
The Lynx is stupid.
Okay.
I hate it. I've got $3,000 in ground vehicles, and you couldn't give me one of these things. It's not luxury.
Why do you not like it?
It's an Ursa in a dress.
Okay.
That's it. How many rich people do you see driving around in like converted Ford Ecoline vans?
Hummers. What about Hummers?
It's not a Hummer.
You just asked me about what's a ship. That's a military Jeep that people jack out to luxury. A Hummer, they do Hummers. Yeah.
Hey. I used to work in the factory that built Hummers. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, they're not.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that's what people do to them.
They are not. Hummers are not luxury.
No, they're horrible. They're horrible too. They're horrible
expensive.
rides. Yeah, they're horrible
not
rides.
Luxury.
But people do trick them out.
Right.
That's my point. People trick them out.
Yeah, you can trick it out. I mean, you can polish a turd, and then what you'll get is a Lynx.
Oh, that's mean.
Yeah, the turds. I'm sorry, turds, for what I said about you.
That's mean. Okay, so for you, it's a no-brainer. Nope, and triple nope.
No, it's just, where's the Bugattis? Where's the Ferraris? That's what rich people drive.
Ah, okay.
You know, all right. Get me my I can't think of the name of Bentley. Give me a Bentley.
A Bentley. Okay. All right.
I want more chrome on there. There ain't anywhere near enough chrome.
Okay. They got to polish it up better. Okay. Thanks, Sir Togi. So we got a no. We got a no from Sir Togi. Let me bring in. I'll bring in FC. I think FC was next. FC, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. What you got?
Yeah, so I do want the Lynx. I'm probably going to get one independent of a Phoenix.
Okay.
To have one. And the reason is because, I've been waiting, we've been hearing about the Lynx forever. For I don't know how many years the Phoenix reports come with the Lynx, and it's finally here or almost here. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm really interested. I swore off getting vehicles a couple of years ago, but this one might be the one that make me go back to having a vehicle or vehicles, because I love the Ranger too, but for different reasons. But one of the reasons why I do like the Lynx is because it's a luxury vehicle that is not Origin. It's an RSI vehicle instead of being Origin.
Different manufacturer.
That's one of the reasons why I like the Phoenix too, because I like the aesthetic of the RSI luxury rather than the aesthetic of an Origin. Personal preference, it's not for everybody, but for me, because the wood paneling and it's not like it doesn't look too clean. It looks clean, but not too clean. For me.
Fair enough. Okay.
And I'm interested in how it's going to compare to the G12 when the G12 supply comes out.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you very much, FC. All right, let's bring Dark Knight in.
I think so.
DK. You there?
Yes,
okay.
I am. Okay, so let me give it first. Interested? Yes. Mm-hmm. It's like a buy for me. Now, here's why. And here's a couple things too that kind of go towards Sertoki and the whole luxury thing. Mm-hmm. First of all, rich people drive Escalades. Escalade is a Suburban.
True. Yeah. Okay.
$100,000 more than a base model Suburban. So there's that whole luxury thing. We also have, Sprinter vans turned into multi-million-dollar limos and RVs. True. Yeah. The Sprinter van is used for cargo hauling.
Yeah.
Okay. So the whole luxury thing is relative on who is building it and what considers luxury for that particular person.
Okay.
Now, the Lynx for me totally goes up with Crusader. What is Crusader luxury? We don't know yet. Mm-hmm. But we're getting the E1, and the Genesis Starliner is going to have luxury cabins and things like that. Right? but we don't have any ground vehicles that are luxury that are not just Origin. And I think what Fastcart was alluding to with the RSI aesthetic, I think will go hand in hand with the Crusader aesthetic. And then looking at, so I would, G12, that's my personal luxury vehicle. But this is a black car. This is a black SUV that picks you up and takes you someplace else. So when I land my E1 with my VIP, passengers, they're going to travel in the Lynx to wherever their ground destination may be, if it's not at a spaceport. So that's going to be their ground transportation. I'm looking at it from a point of view of that thing's going to make me money. Okay. And that's how I'm going to always view it. It's not totally just personal, a personal vehicle for myself. It's really more because the rear seats are for somebody else to be sitting in, not the driver, not the owner. Yeah. The owner or the driver is not the owner. The owner is sitting in the back, or whoever is being escorted is sitting in the back. So I look at it like a black car SUV, same ones you see driving, rich people back and forth from O'Hare or the private, private landing or pads and stuff like that. That's how I see it. So I'm getting one to complement my E1 and to go into my Genesis Starliner whenever that comes. Okay. That's my whole purpose.
You've got a role play gaming plan for yours. That's why you want it. Okay.
I have a complete gameplay for it. Yep.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. Thank you, DK. All right. I can appreciate everybody's feelings here, even Sir Togi's, and I'll tell you why. Because, the reason why I raised the question the way I did about why and why not are you interested? And I said the reason why I'm mentioning is because people said, it doesn't serve a purpose, right? And he didn't say that. What he said was he just didn't like it because it wasn't luxury to him. He says he has other vehicles, but for him, it didn't serve the purpose of what it was supposed to be. I say this, and this is the thing reason why I raise this is because there are some people who, when they say it doesn't serve a purpose in the game, it's because they're looking at it from what they want to do in the game. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't serve a purpose in the game. DK said this, BBG said this. For some people, gameplay, and I'm going to be really particular about this, gameplay is based on what they want to do. And I remember when luxury first came out, this idea of luxury touring first came out back in the day, there was so much like, what the heck is that? There were so many players that were like, what is that? Luxury in a game? What is that? There was another group of people who said, yes, finally, right? And they got it because it was another way of playing games that somebody really had not put a lot of time and effort and interest into. Let me give you a different comparison. My daughter and I, when my kids were younger, we used to play Wizard 101, right? The kiddie Dungeons and Dragons game that's very safe for young kids to play. Well, at least it was back then. And we would play this game and do adventures and everything else. And my youngest daughter, though, even though she would do adventures and stuff, she spent most of her time in that game decorating houses. That's all she did. She decorated houses. Other people were running around wanting wands and casting spells and doing this and having fun, adventures and meeting monsters. My daughter, when you come back home, my daughter had a cherry cheesecake, strawberries on the wall, all this stuff. She had spent hours doing that. Did I ever go to my daughter and say, you know what, that's not playing the game. We're paying money for you to go out and do dragons with us or to go cast spells, or why aren't you working on your spell book? Because what reached her in that game was going and decorating, and she felt just as happy doing that. There are players who are going to do things in this game. They're going to do medical, and it has absolutely nothing to do with combat. They're going to be people, they're going to farm. There are going to be people who decide to ride in style, fly in style. They're going to sit in the back window of their 600i and cross their legs, and that's all they're going to do is log in and watch the sun go down, and they're going to be happy. The thing that gets me is that those people have no problem with people who enjoy combat, salvaging, mercenary work, pirating. They got no problem with them people. But those people have a problem with the people that want to sit in their 890 jump and just watch the sun go down. Think about it. I'm just going to throw that out there. And yes, I'm defending them people a little bit because I'm one of them. I've always been amazed at why there's a problem. Why do people have a problem with this idea of touring in luxury in Star Citizen? But the other way around, I'm cool with them folks. They having fun playing the game. Have fun playing the game, you know? So I appreciate everybody's opinion, and especially Sir Togi, because everybody's not expected to enjoy everything in this game. There's some ship manufacturers, people don't like them just because I just don't like that ship. You can tell me how great a ship it is all you want. I don't like flying the Harbinger. It just is. I prefer flying this, or I prefer Drake, or I prefer RSI, or I prefer Banu. It's okay, guys. It's okay. Okay. All right. Admiral Kusanagi jumped in just when I'm going to change channels. All right, Admiral, I'm going to bring you in, but make it tight because I got to wrap it up in 7 minutes. Hey, Admiral.
Okay, Griff. Okay, so let's talk about this.
Sure.
I have to say, okay, so there are going to be orgs out there who wanted, like, we'll say a mining org, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to fly there with your Phoenix or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you're not going to, like, get out there and walk around the mining site. You're going to just get in this little vehicle and be driven around, sipping your wine, like, looking at your quote-unquote, hard workers, doing what they're supposed to be doing, and checking your stock quotes at the same time, making sure they're pulling up to what you want them to be pulling up. And to go along with that, I mean, why should I have to walk off of a Phoenix when I could be driven to my door? So I'm just saying, people got to look at this a little bit differently.
And you're right. Everybody's going to have their aspect of, and this is the thing, there are people who, like yourself, several people have come in and expressed role-playing dynamics. Other people expressed game-playing dynamics, right? And another person just came in and expressed aesthetics. They didn't talk about gameplay per se or role play. They just talked about it's the way it makes me feel when I play the game,
Well, someone mentioned limos, and I think that's exactly what we're looking at here.
Yeah,
I have seen the video of it, and it's pretty impressive what they did in the inside. You're definitely not. There's no cargo hauling in that thing at all. But it's a lifestyle, which I've also heard here. So I think you're going to see people that jerk who owns the company driving by like, oh god, here he comes again with his stupid little Lynx. And you're gonna have people just going to the movies or a matinee in game or doing something like that. You're gonna see him around.
Good point, Admiral. Good point.
All right,
buddy. Thanks. Yes, alrighty. Okay, Tiara, thank you for that follow. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Okay, guys, last but not least, like I said, I want you guys know I'm trying to wrap the show up a little bit here, but I do want to hear your thoughts. On this one. Alrighty, let's talk about, why didn't that go away? There we go. All right, let's talk about and I told you guys the name of this show today was, I gotta remember what the name of the show was, Invictus, Beyond, what did I say it was? Beyond Ship Sales. Okay. The question is, can Invictus become more than ship sales? And if so, what would be your suggestion? Would be a suggestion that Invictus become more? Now, what I mean by that is I'm talking about in relation to the game, right? There's the lore that's there. We know that, right? They've got the lore, the history of the UEE, introducing people to that about the Navy, all that cool stuff. But it's been in existence now for 3 years now. I think 3 years going on 4. It's either third year or going into the fourth year. What could it become more of so that ship sales just becomes a part of it, right? And not what seems to be the focus of it, right? Because when most people talk about, Invictus, they're not saying, oh, I can't wait till Invictus comes here so I can walk down the halls and read all the history and go look at the statues. People are like, I can't wait till Invictus gets here because I want to buy my hammerhead, right? So I want to know, what can CIG to some more equilibrium, can balance that out more so that, the ship sales happen, but maybe there's something a little bit more interactive with us as players when it comes to this annual event. Okay. So let me bring in, I think Fist to Face was first, and then I'll bring in Kai, then Pops. Fist?
Yes.
Hey.
Okay. So to answer the question, can Invictus become more than ship sales? Of course. Okay. It can. Right now, obviously, we know where the state of the game is at. We've been talking about this for the past, hour, a little bit over.
Okay.
So
what can it become? Tell me something that you think it could become.
Invictus can become, we know lore that's there, but I always talked about these events like this, and I'm glad when they did IAE, I believe it was when they first introduced Siege of Orison.
Okay.
Right. Because I always said, why is it, you got folks, they come into this event, they just walk around, look at a ship, rent a ship, and that's it. They're gone.
Okay.
So why not give them something that, kind of like, especially for Invictus, for folks to come in there, and enlist or kind of go through an enlistment process. I know the game will have something like that. Once you finish Squadron 42, you'll have a ranking of where or whatever it is that you'll come into the game as. But at least you can kind of maybe give folks some type of a mission or history in that mission, to go through some type of dynamic mission or something, and that gives it more of than just it being a sale.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Okay. I like that. Perfect. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's bring in Kai's in. Kai, you there?
Hello.
Hey, yeah. What you got?
All right. Can Invictus be more than a ship sale? It already is. It is a free fly event. It is one of the times of the year to get your friends to come and see the game, to see stuff that is a whole other aspect to it. But I think to answer the spirit of what the questioner is saying, what I would love to see in the future, we know that Squadron 42 is going to have many chapters. We know that the lore of Invictus is that there was a time at the beginning of a great war where this ship flew around the system and went from colony to colony, taking humans into Uncle Sam wants you. It was a patriot drive. It was getting people to come. And that was, that is a very famous thing from World War I, that image, that iconography. And it was part of a huge sort of propaganda push, which was a big deal. I would love to see the actual Invictus ship, like the actual, like a ship that they just recommissioned, just like in Star Trek, how you have the Enterprise and it's like, well, this ain't the original Enterprise, this is the Enterprise D. I would love to see an Invictus D go from system to system, getting people, and you actually go and get on the ship and you go in and it takes you in for a big, now this is post-launch. I'm not talking about, they can't do this right now. They got to get the game out, but post-launch, it takes you in, and there's some event like Xenothreat or whatever, where you come in, you get inducted into the UEE Navy with a temporary commission, and you're put into a brand new unit that stood up to go and maybe do a 5 or 6 mission event. And or you could also use that each year as, oh, hey, look, this new chapter of Squadron 42 dropped. These people have all accomplished all the missions. Now you go in there, you ride in, and you go to some award ceremony where they give you some kind of thing in game, or just call you out, even if it's nothing but a ribbon to put on your uniform or whatever.
Right.
There's a lot of things they could do with that post-launch, but it is already a free fly. It is already more than just ship sales, but yeah, it could be much more down the line.
Cool.
Later.
All right, bro. Thank you. All right. Let me bring in Pops in space, and I think Sir Togi and MT Stunner are waiting in the other. I'll bring them in next. Pops, you there?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm just gonna, elaborate, because me and Kai are thinking on the same exact wavelength here. You could go game. It's a free fly. It's about coming into and seeing what you can do. You could go on missions. Could, a fighter pilot mission. You could go in and learn how to be in a turret. Other things, land missions. So you could come in and learn the ships, learn what that whole end of it is and what you could be recruiting, because they have what looks like recruiting stations. You go up to the recruiting station and they could send you out on missions, see what it is you like, what you want, maybe even some little emulators or something down there, so you can really come in the game and see what the game is all about.
Okay, cool. Instructional. I like that. All right. Thanks, Pops. All right. Let me bring in Sir Togi. Sir Togi.
What up?
Yeah, what you got?
So they already have electronic access and the armoring and all that kind of stuff. Be set up as like an in-lore simulator, so it'd be really cool to see them have, at each Invictus like a scenario, like maybe the old Operation Flashpoint games, where you can run through a pre-set up scenario with friends and get special gear each year from completing the scenario.
Nice.
They've already got the infrastructure for it. That being said, I don't think it'll ever be more than a ship sale.
Okay.
Even people saying that, it's free fly. Yeah, they're letting people in for free so that they can buy ships.
Still connected to
let's
ship
be
sale,
honest.
right? Okay.
If you don't buy a ship, you got to stop playing.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Thank you, Sir Togi. Like that. All right. And last but not least, MT Stunner's here. MT, you there?
Yeah. Hey, Griff. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. Hey, yeah, I think it could definitely be a lot more, and it definitely will be.
Okay.
We talk a lot on the show about like the special ships, like the E1 and things like that are going to do missions to transport players around. I think there's a huge role for that in the future with Invictus. So there could be both missions and just like more incentives for players with those types of ships to do those kinds of things. The 890s, obviously, things like that. I would love to see an event for Invictus, a server-wide event that's a war game, so like UEE versus the CDF, because it could be really cool. Like it could be a way for the military to show up their might, but also to help train up the civilian defense forces. So I think that'd be a cool event.
Nice.
And then I also think they could start a series kind of like the Jack series for the IAE. But if you think about it, like in the future, once the game's actually out of alpha, Invictus launch week by lore is kind of like a huge propaganda event too for the UEE. So they could definitely like make a new series where they do some kind of a lore drop, and they have like some guy that it could even bring players in too that are doing machinima where they report on events in the system. But it could be about reporting about politics and things like that, and it could be this huge propaganda, but use it as a lore dump for us. So it could be kind of a fun thing to do.
Cool. I like that. Very nice. All right, promising stuff. Hopefully CIG will hear you. It's good stuff. Thanks, buddy. Okay, those are great. I'm going to take a hodgepodge of what everybody said, because they said a little bit of everything of what I was kind of thinking. I would love to see, and this is on the in-game side of it, right? I would love to see Invictus become interactive with us as players. Because remember I said earlier that, the thing that people focus on, and Kai's right, there is the aspect of introducing people to the game that comes through the, the free fly and things of that nature. And of course, there's the sales and the melts and all the other things that take place on the financial level. I would love for them to be able to make it so that when we go over to Invictus, as you guys know, the fleet flies around, right? It goes to all the different stations of the main planets. And I've always thought it would be really cool that a dynamic event took place. And the dynamic event was, as the carrier, the Javelin and stuff is coming in, that just like we get a call whenever Xenothreat takes place, there would be a call. You could go to the recruitment desk and sign up for CDF or with the UEE, whatever, right? But the idea is that when the fleet is coming, there's a thing that tells you the fleet is coming, because they tell you that, right? It's 20 minutes out, 30 minutes out, or whatever. But then there's the possibility of an attack that takes place by Xenothreat, NPC attack. And you get to go out, get into your ship, and go out and protect the fleet, similar to what we do with Xenothreat, where, we have to protect the Javelin while it's being refueled and all that. It could be the exact same thing. You've got the Idrises out there, the Hammerheads, the Javelins coming in, and we as players engage with protecting the ship so that it can dock at the station. I would love to see something like that take place. So that players now have a reason to go to be at the station when the fleet arrives. I would also love to see, I used to work in aviation, and whenever we would have our air shows, there would be tours, free flies that would take place on some of the ships that would come in, the planes that would come in. And so I would love to see, so that on the Javelin, if you've never taken the Javelin tour, I really encourage you to do it. But that, as you guys know, there's a briefing room. I would love for them to be able to expand the ship a little bit further, so that there would be either a viewing room, kind of like a 10 forward, like on the Enterprise, or even if it's in the briefing room, but where you could get on the ship and actually ride from if you're at the station at Bikini Point and you're going over to Everest, that people could get on. And, you know, it can only accommodate so many people, but you could actually ride that way on the Javelin, right? You can't tour the whole ship. We get that. It'd be great if they made it so that the command area, the pilot cockpit area was available. But if we could just do that and you could stand up there and watch it as it pulls in and parks and see the fireworks from there, I would love to see something interactive on that level happening with it, things that are in game. I love the idea of the war games with CDF. I think that's very cool too. But these are things that they could do while the game is in its current state, that they would allow players to have something a little bit more interactive at the event. The bridge. Thank you, Kai. You realize I was at a loss for words, but that the bridge would be built. Yeah. So I would just love to see something like that happen in the game, so that we look forward to being able to participate in some other form. Recruitment with the CDF or the UEE would also be something that could take place for that week, which would also be interesting too. There could be badges you could get, maybe even work out things where there's a discount if you did something, who knows, right? Or raffle, whatever. Little raffle thing there at the UEE table where you could raffle off and get a ship. All types of reasons other than just to go look at a ship, rent a ship, and leave. That's what I really would like to see happen. So anyway, that's the end of that tune, or the name of that tune. And yes, I am done. We are through. We're going to talk about we got coming up next, because we covered all the good stuff here for the show. Thank you guys for all the great comments and thoughts you guys gave us today. Really, really good stuff. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern time, Soul Citizens are going to be talking about fear of missing out, the infamous acronym FOMO, right? We're right in Invictus, kicking it off. And, you know, we're going to talk about, you know, why do Star Citizen players, well, just gamers in general, why does this fear of missing out exist, right? How many times have you said, I'm not spending any more money on Star Citizen, only to find out that you spent more money on Star Citizen? We are going to be talking about that fear of missing out. Why do we still continue to do it? Now, don't get me wrong. Some of us do it because we believe in the project. And if we've got the accessible funds, we do it. But there's also some other things that drive why we do it, other than just the cool commercials or, you know, seeing that latest ship. You know, why 10 years later, 11 years later, are we still compelled to, feel like we might miss out if we don't buy something or spend money on something? So that's going to be tomorrow. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that. Don't forget that today is also PodSat Podcast Saturday, our day where we support other streamers in the Star Citizen community, in particular, the Astropub, Paul Shelley with the Captain's Table, which comes on at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and followed by that at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, the OGs, Relay Station. Those guys are out there, Relay SC. Hopefully you guys will be able to visit with them as well. You give you a whole afternoon and evening of nothing but great Star Citizen conversations and content. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that. Want to let you guys know that also we are the Soul Citizens are looking to start streaming publicly together. And for you as our loyal followers and viewers, if you guys want to join in with us, you will be more than welcome to do that. We're going to maybe kick it off tonight. It's Saturday evening, probably around 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Time. So if you guys want to come and hang out with us, we'll be in our Discord. If you want to join us in gameplay, we'll all get in the same server together. We'll just go over to the Bevic and go talk about what's over there. We'll maybe fly some stuff, go visit some things, maybe go over to Lorville for those of you who haven't hung out over there. We're just going to spend some time together tonight. So if you're free and you want to join us, if it's just one of us or 10 of us or 20 of us, you are more than welcome to do that, to join us tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, roughly. Should be around that time. Just check our Discord. If you see us in there, you'll know what's going on. Okay. Want to say thank you to everybody once again who were here, who joined us today. I also want to give a shout out to Dark Knight. Dark Knight 75 is going to be live streaming today in exactly 18 minutes over at the People's Radio, TPR. We want you guys to go over and tune into some good, if you love house music, if you love some really good music, we're going to put that in for you guys, that you guys can go over and listen to that while you're doing stuff this afternoon. Check out the People's Radio and check out DK. He will be there. Thank you, Fast Cart. He will be there streaming some great music, and he's a great guy. He says he's going to do it live, which is going to be really interesting too, because I'm lazy. When mine goes up, it's pre-recorded. He's going to do it live, so definitely support DK, okay? Other than that, that's it. Thank you again for everybody who followed. Those of you who subscribed today, thank you. And hopefully we will see you guys tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. Eastern for The Fear of Missing Out. Hopefully we'll see you then. Otherwise, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and as always, peace, love, and soul. See you soon. Take care. Bye. Oh, we know what? I didn't set us up for a raid, did I? I didn't. Who are we raiding, Fast Cart? I didn't look to see who we could raid. Let me see if we're raiding somebody. Hang on, guys. I'm gonna come back on camera for a second here so I can see here. You know what? I didn't set up that last screen. No wonder. Let me go back here. I'm here, and let me see who we could raid. Astropub. Okay, the Astropub. We're gonna raid Paul, guys. I zoned out. All right, let me set it up. When you guys get over there with Paul, give him some love. Let him know you came over from the Soul Citizens as always. And we'll see you guys real soon. Take care. Peace out. 3, 2, 1.